the circumstances surrounding the book of Philemon regard with Onesimus' arrival and his appeal, Paul seems to have been able to understand exactly what to do in the situation and what God's providence, what God seemed to have in mind in terms of his providence. How can we as modern Christians rightly interpret God's providence and know how to act in certain situations?
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes you kind of feel like, wouldn't you love to have Paul alongside you, just to say, Reg, here's what's going on. Although sometimes when I read how much he can get in your face, I'm going, well, maybe it's just as well. I don't know, but yeah, it's what I love about Paul is that here's a guy who is totally alive to what's going on around him. And at the same time, he is so just because he knows that he's living under heavens that are habitated, that Jesus is sitting on the throne. His own life is hid with him. He's coming back and he's going to make all things right. All the demons, the host of the devil's minions are pacified. They can't do anything more than the Lord of glory, the Lord of history will allow. And Paul has this sense of everything that happens is in his sovereign hands. And yeah, you're right. We don't have the mind of Christ in the same way that Paul had it, because, well, none of us should claim to be an apostle with a capital A. And I get really suspicious when somebody tells me they've had the kind of visions that Paul said he had in 2 Corinthians and all that stuff. But Paul does say that we have the mind of Christ. And all wisdom has been given to us in Christ. And he does so in Colossians. And he puts each of us in a place where he has promised to be with us, to be adequate for us, to not put temptation in front of us that's not common to man, and from which there's not an escape, and to give us a competency to do what he has called us to do. And the thing that is so remarkable about this cluster of letters, Philemon and Colossians and Ephesians, is that I think he gives us a sense of perspective as we seek to interpret providence that involves prayer, that involves being in submission to his church under officers who carry out the apostolic prophetic function and who pastor and teach, and where we're going to get the challenge to live in love and in holiness, to find counsel so that we can discern what our situation is before God and how we can live in it wisely. So it's a great question, and what Paul wants us to do is to see every relationship as an opportunity to live out our new identity in Christ, every situation as being an opportunity to ask the question, well, why did the Lord put this particular situation in front of me? And how can I see his goodness and his providence, even in the things that don't look so good now? And how can I live as one who has had every wrong I've done paid for, every obligation I owe paid for? And then how can he use me to express his desire to bring that same sort of forgiveness, that same sort of healing power, that same sort of reconciling power of relationship? How can I bring that to other people?